Are you struggling to use AI to help you with your work? You probably know it's powerful, you maybe use it for one or two things, but deep down inside you know that you could be using it for more, and you're absolutely right. The folks who know how to use AI well are gaining massive advantages in the workplace, but like any skill, it takes time to develop. I created this video to speed up that learning curve by giving you a lot of different ideas of how you can use AI in every aspect of your work life. This video is for small business owners and solopreneurs who are looking to automate tedious tasks and get back precious hours to focus on growing their businesses. This video is for project managers so they can catch risks before they derail your projects using AI to analyze data to predict problems and suggest proactive solutions. It's also for marketing managers and sales teams who want to elevate their writing and communication skills and want to get customer insights and marketing savvy of big corporations without the risk of hiring these experts. This video can help customer support and admin assistants to drastically reduce the time they spend on routine inquiries, freeing them up for complex customer interactions, and it can also help them become communication rock stars by drafting flawless emails, agendas, meeting notes, and more with AI assistance. This will also be helpful for folks that are in HR and hiring. We're going to look at how to use AI to ensure you're compliant with the ever-changing regulations by having AI flag potential issues and explain legalese. If you've struggled with learning how to use AI, then you are not alone. Just knowing where to start can be quite a challenge. This video is about all the low-hanging fruit, all the non-technical things you should be considering AI for in your professional life. If you're new to the Blazing Zebra channel, I want to welcome you and thank you for joining me on my mission of helping marketers and entrepreneurs around the world learn how to use these powerful tools. If you're getting something out of these videos, please consider supporting me on Patreon, where you can get access to dozens and dozens of cheat sheets, code, including all of the different prompts we're going to go through today. I have a PDF version of that. There's some coaching options, etc. Let's dive in now to all the different sections of prompts we're going to be going through today. Anytime you're working in these different areas, maybe just have AI in the back of your mind as a resource you can go to. So the first section of prompts is all about decision making. Very powerful tool for that. Then we're going to get into sales and marketing. We're going to get into some automation prompts. We're going to get into some legal prompts, which can be very helpful. Email specifically. And finally, we're going to be looking at how to build an AI culture with you and your team. So these are prompts that will help you to expand on the knowledge that we're going to be going through today. During the course of this video, I use the term LLM quite a bit. This stands for large language model, and you can simply think of that as ChatGPT, particularly ChatGPT 4. You can also use these prompts with Google's Gemini or Anthropic's Claude for some different unique and useful results. So the different categories of decision-making prompts that we're going to be going through is information gathering and analysis, brainstorming and idea evaluation, prioritization and resource allocation, using it for unbiased perspectives as well as future scenarios. I'm going to be going through these prompts relatively quickly. The idea is to just get all this stuff in the back of your mind so you know that you can use this when the time comes. You can also take screenshots of these, pause the video and jot some things down. And again, I have a PDF cheat sheet version of all of these for my Patreon supporters. So, information and gathering analysis. Analyze these customer reviews and identify the most common positive and negative themes. I've got 2 whole videos on market research. I think this is one of the most powerful ways to use this tool is to grab a bunch of different comments. This can be from Amazon product reviews. This can be from YouTube videos and other places, and just dump those in to AI and use it to analyze what different customers are saying about your service or similar services to yours. Another one here, what are the potential risks and benefits associated with decision A versus decision B? Another one, research historical examples similar to this situation and outline the outcomes of different approaches, or generate 10 creative solutions to address a specific problem. And I'm going to be going through an example of one of these here in a second, just to show you how to use this inside of ChatGPT 4. That's the paid version of ChatGPT. You may also want to consider using Gemini Ultra, the new Google large language model, which I think is actually outperforming ChatGPT in a lot of different ways. Here, another one for information gathering and analysis. Here's a set of regulations impacting our industry. Summarize this in plain language and explain how it might require us to change our practices. Brainstorming and idea evaluation. List potential objections and counter arguments arguments to this proposed strategy. Provide alternative ways to frame this problem to gain new perspectives. Another one, if we implement this decision, what are the potential second-order effects we should consider? This idea seems promising, but what would have to go perfectly in order for it to succeed? Conversely, what could easily cause it to fail? And then this one, let's play out an assumption challenge. I'm going to state an underlying assumption about this project, provide alternate realities where that assumption is not true. Prioritization and resource management. I think you'll find these very helpful. Given our current goals, please rank these projects in order of importance. Or if we can only complete 3 of these tasks this week, you might put in there week, year, whatever, which should have the highest priority and why? What skills or knowledge gaps exist on our team that might hinder this project? How could we address them? If we increase the budget for this project by 10%, what additional goals could we realistically achieve? And then similarly, the flip side of that, if we had to cut this project scope by 20%, which elements are essential to the core purpose and which are the nice to haves? Unbiased perspectives. This is huge, just getting another take on what your decision might be. Remove any emotionally charged language from this draft and rewrite it as objectively as possible. This is very helpful if you're discussing things with your leadership team. Another one, play devil's advocate, provide the strongest arguments against this decision. And also, what are some inherent biases that might be influencing my judgment on this issue? So these are all getting at figuring out where your blind spots are and helping you make better decisions. Future scenarios. Based on current industry trends, create several projections of where our market might be in 5 years. Or outline the best case and worst case scenarios if we pursue this course of action. And if we could go back in time and change one past decision, what would it be and why? Finally, here with the future scenarios, what external factors, economic downturns, supply chain issues, etc. could threaten this project? Can we build any safeguards now against those disruptions? So this is the one I want to flip into ChatGPT and show you how to actually use this and what the results are. Here you can see I've put in that same prompt using a bakery example. I run a successful bakery. I am contemplating opening a second location. What external factors could threaten this project? Can we build any safeguards now against those disruptions? So this is a real world example. Let me just show you what it's got here. It goes into economic downturn, impact, safeguards, I think are the most important parts of this response. Supply chain issues. We all know COVID really messed with supply chain issues, so thinking through different safeguards to mitigate those issues. Health and safety regulations. Market saturation is a really good section here that talks about doing some market research, identifying unique niches, etc. Changing customer preferences, that is always an issue. You can only be the hot trend for a certain amount of time before you got to reinvent yourself. Technological disruptions, that is not something I would have thought about running a bakery, opening a second location. And then just building in safeguards. Things to remember, financial reserves, insurance, flexible lease terms, for sure a good one to think about. Customer loyalty programs. So just with that one prompt, this helps you think through all the different risks of maybe opening a second location. All right, now I want to get into process automation. We're going to look at workflow design, integration and implementation, ongoing improvement, advanced functionality, and experimental and forward-thinking prompts here. So workflow design, draft a step-by-step process outlining a specific task, include clear decision points for potential alternative routes based on different inputs. I use this a ton. Any process, even if it's a process I have, I ask ChatGPT to give me a step-by-step process for it. I look where my process might be missing things and adjust and move on. So this is a very powerful prompt for any sort of automation, just getting started, mapping out that process. Second prompt here. This process includes several conditional steps. If X happens, then do Y. Could an LLM generate a concise decision tree to handle these situations? And then here, this email gets sent repeatedly with some customization. Help design a template that allows easy input of the variable information. Moving on to integration and implementation. Are there any pre-existing tools for automation platforms that might easily be adaptable to handle a specific process? So this is analyzing your tech stack. How can you connect your CRM better to your email marketing? Different things like that. ChatGPT knows a ton about this, as does Google's Gemini. We want to create an automated chat function to answer basic customer questions. What information would the LLM need to do this effectively? So start mapping out your chatbots. What would be needed to enable an LLM to generate invoices, sort leads, extract information forms, etc. accurately? So using the LLM itself to teach you how to use it. Very powerful prompts here. Ongoing improvement. We've automated this process. Which metrics can we track to measure its success over time? Another one, how can we incorporate user feedback collection into the automated process to identify areas for improvement? And getting into some more of the advanced functionality here. Could an LLM monitor incoming emails for urgent language and escalate these cases for faster resolution? I have a whole video on this, all about using these large language models to monitor email and create draft responses. This next one, this process involves reviewing images and documents, explore whether the image recognition models that exist could help with categorization or anomaly detection. So if you're using a lot of visual data, a lot of images, there are tons of different ways to use this, whether you're a contractor feeding in images of the work site and asking the AI, how to fix this, or having training your team and staff to do that. Even if you know how to fix certain things, training your staff to use AI to generate these ideas can save you a ton of time. Can you design a simple dashboard that tracks the time savings and potential errors prevented because of our recently automated process? So getting a feel for that ROI and how it can be improved. Another couple prompts here around experimental and forward thinking. Brainstorm on how LLMs might proactively offer process automation suggestions based on the analysis of our team's daily activities. Also, what processes are currently considered not good candidates for automation and why? Could future LLM advances overcome these limitations? So this is oftentimes when I'm speaking to folks, knowing where the limitations of these things are is quite helpful. There's a lot of hype around these tools, and folks seem to think that almost anything under the sun is possible. And that's kind of technically true, but in practice, there are a lot of things that just it's not ready for yet. Okay, so moving on with our bakery example, I have here draft a step-by-step process outline for market research to identify unique niches or understand customer segments, include clear decision points and potential alternative routes based on these inputs. So this is building on that, idea of we're opening a second location, and one big part we want to know is this market research for unique niches. So this walks you through all the different steps, defining your objectives, collecting secondary data, conduct primary research, market segmentation, evaluate the competition, identify opportunities, validate your findings, develop a strategy, implement and monitor. All good stuff. This is, I think, helpful, but one tweak that I've learned over all of my experimentation with these LLMs is to tell it, hey, rather than telling me what to do, let's do this together. What parts of this can you handle, and what do you need from me? So in this way, we're actually collaborating with the LLM instead of it just kind of generating a blog post of things for us to do. There's things that the AI should be able to do. So let's get it doing that stuff and turn this process into more of an interactive engagement. And you can see here, it starts to get into your role, just telling it to clarify your goals, and then it can help refine those goals, etc. Collecting secondary data, share industry research and reports, competitor analysis. I think you could probably get it to do a fair amount of this stuff as well if you sort of dove in, a little level deeper on this section. But I think this can be helpful rather than just getting it to generate a list of things for you to do. Having this, asking it, hey, let's do this together, let's collaborate, where it starts to then tell you what it needs so that it can take your inputs and really do some good stuff with this. And this gets into, multiple prompt sequences, which I'll talk about at the end of the video, and also creating custom GPTs, which are very, very powerful and very simple tools once you know the basics of how to do them. So you can see here, this just continues to go on and talk about how to collaborate on this market research for the bakery. Moving on to some sales and marketing prompts. So we're going to look at the following sections, including content creation, audience understanding, personalization and messaging, campaign planning and measurement, experimental and quirky use cases as well. So content creation, write several variations of ad copy for a product with different emotional appeal. That's key, rather than just saying, hey, give me 3 different ads for this. Asking it to give the different emotional appeal, including this aspirational, humorous, focused on convenience. So you can test different things. You don't want it generating just kind of different versions of the same one. This is very powerful because when I've written ad copy over the years, it's, you can generate one idea, you can generate a different idea, but it's hard to generate 10 very, very different ideas AI can do that, and those can provide much better A/B testing when you're running some Facebook ads, Google ads, even newsprint ads, all sorts of ads there. Draft a blog post explaining a complex industry topic in a way that's easier for a beginner to understand. This is huge. Whatever you do, you're probably an expert in that, and that is a challenge then explaining that to people who are not experts. AI can help you with that. Analyze this set of customer feedback and identify pain points that our marketing and sales messaging should address. So you can look at your Google reviews for your store. You can look at all sorts of things. Feed that into the LLM and try to figure out how can you address those in your marketing or maybe in your processes themselves. And next one, based on target demographic characteristics, suggest ideal social media platforms to focus our advertising efforts on. It knows a lot of stuff about current social media trends, so it can be helpful there. Draft a sales email template, but leave placeholders for personalized details for the prospect's company and pain points. Another one here, the prospect said X, generate several ways to respond to that, overcoming the objection and keeping the conversation going. This is huge. We're going to cover a little bit more about this in the email section, but just overcoming objections or handling customer complaints via email or just prepping for a call can be huge. The sales presentation is too long. Summarize the key points into a concise elevator pitch. It can be very powerful for that if you're going to raise money or if you're trying to influence your leadership team of a few things. You might want to give it a second look there and ask the AI for some help and some pointers on your presentation. Now we're getting into campaign planning and measurement. Here's one: brainstorm different A/B test ideas for elements of this up and coming email campaign. So not just looking at copy, but looking at maybe the number of different emails, the length of the emails, all different things you can plan out. Given a budget of X, outline a potential marketing campaign mix with estimated reach for each channel. That can be huge, just giving it a little information about your industry, about what you're seeking to achieve, and have those budget conversations with it, which are very hard to wrap your head around with any one expert. It's often a tough part of marketing, is coming up with the ideal marketing mix and budget. The next one, these are the results of our latest campaign, which metrics suggest success and where we might need to improve. So any sort of reporting that you're doing back to your leadership team can be helpful with that. And here are some experimental and quirky use cases. Come up with a playful mascot idea that could represent our brand. Help me write a short rhyming jingle to use in a quick advertisement. Write a humorous press release announcing a fictional outlandish product related to our industry. Translate this marketing jargon into plain English that an average person would comprehend. So just some ideas, ways to think out of the box, have a little fun. Maybe it's with your internal team, or maybe it's taking a humorous slant on PR, but here are some other just quirky uses for AI. So hopping back into ChatGPT to just show you an example of a response to that objection handling prompt, I put in this example: a customer is requesting a full refund for a large catering order because we were 20 minutes late. Generate several ways to respond that overcome this objection and keep the conversation going. So I think this was very helpful, just outlaying all of the different options: apology and partial refund, and it gives you a little bit of messaging there, apology and explanation, and value addition, just based on the whatever you can do with your pocketbook, whatever your options are. Empathy, future service guarantee, loyalty reward. This can really help you get your mind going about the different directions and different ways you can handle it. Option 4, direct compensation offer and feedback requests. Option 5, personalized approach and future benefit. So that covers a lot of the different options, different approaches you can take for these sticky situations. If something gets messed up and it's costing you money, AI can be helpful to map out different approaches there that might work. And along those lines, we're now going to get into the legal section of this video. The document drafting and review slide here, the first one, really will help you generate a first draft of any agreement. So generate a first draft of the contract type containing standard clauses for whatever the industry or situation you're in. The next one gets a little more granular. Create a standard non-disclosure agreement, NDA template I can use with contractors or potential partners. Next, provide a template for a basic independent contractor agreement suitable for short-time work. And finally, on this slide, this customer is refusing to pay, citing poor workmanship. What are my legal rights in this situation? We're going to take a look at that here in a second. Here's some more though. While we're at it, provide alternative phrasing options for this potentially ambiguous contract term. So if there's something in a contract you don't understand, this can help you provide other phrasing to get more clarity on that. Or I guess it's really if a contract is not drafted well, this will help you improve the draft of that contract. Check this legal brief for any language that could be considered inflammatory or overly biased. Analyze this agreement and identify any potential loopholes or areas of vulnerability for our client. So really analyzing any agreement that you're signing, just saying, hey, how is this not in my favor? Next one, create a checklist of key items to confirm within this type of document to ensure legal compliance. So really it can be helpful with legal compliance issues, just flagging things that might not be kosher. Generate a list of employment law regulations that apply to a small business with X amount of employees in a certain state. So as I mentioned at the top of the video, any sort of hiring or HR activities, there are many different regulations. AI can be one place that you go to help get your mind wrapped around that stuff. And along those lines, here are some other prompts to help you understand legal concepts. Explain this legal concept in plain English with real world examples. What are the key differences between similar legal concepts and when does each apply? Outline the potential legal ramifications of a specific action in a specific jurisdiction. Next here, provide a historical overview of how the legal interpretation of an issue has evolved over time. And now getting into the predictive and exploratory section here. If we modify this clause, are we increasing our legal risk? Can an LLM compare similar clauses from past cases to reveal unforeseen issues? And then based on current legal trends, what are any up and coming regulatory changes in a specific field that we should anticipate and prepare for? So this is big. I do a lot of work with folks in healthcare, and the compliance and regulations there are changing all the time. So every year there's a new batch of regulations that come out. This can be very helpful for accountants as well, just understanding, feeding that new knowledge in and asking it, how should you update your documents? How should you update your processes? And now back to this bakery example. We're assuming that this customer who we spoke about earlier is not happy with any of the different messaging that we came up with, and they are really refusing to pay. You want to ask ChatGPT, what are my legal rights in this situation? And it goes through now when things are getting even messier, review your agreement. Starts with the basic stuff, which, you may gloss over, but it's always good to kind of have an idea of what, the foundational checkpoints that you need to go through before you're making a decision. Attempt to resolve amicably, which we've kind of tried with those emails earlier. Send a formal demand letter, engage a collection agency, small claims court, civil lawsuit. So these are the different actions that you can take against that customer who's refusing to pay. These are the different legal considerations, and a final note of consulting with a legal professional, which is huge when it comes to any legal stuff. Most stuff with ChatGPT is getting quite good with hallucinations, but the legal area is one where you want to make sure you've got some human buy-in from ideally an attorney to help you make these decisions. So just like I said, LLMs are still evolving. It's essential to have thorough human review of any LLM generated legal work. So if you can use it to draft that initial agreement, but you definitely want to get some sign off from an attorney. Seeking the advice of qualified legal professionals in complex matters, and be mindful of ethical considerations and the responsible use of LLMs within the legal profession. All right, now we're moving on to email. This is something that I use AI for every single day: drafting and composition, revision and refinement, email efficiency, and email strategy and optimization. So this first one here I use very consistently at the end of the day when I have 3 to 10 different emails that I need to respond to, that need some thought, that need to be worded correctly, and I have I'm at my lowest mental capabilities at the end of the day. I use this to just, like it says here, please help me reply to this email. My general thoughts on the matter are XYZ. So then it'll generate a nice draft, and I'll have to tweak that a little bit, but it'll often be that the end result is much better than the 2 or 3 sentence email that I would have fired off that would have probably caused more confusion down the road. So just taking that step back, asking the AI, hey, here's the email, here are the thoughts I have about it, write me a draft, tweak that draft, and you're basically done and you're on to the next one. And if you don't have enough mental energy to do that, you should probably just wait until tomorrow to answer that email. And don't ask me why I'm recommending that, because it's a long and sad story. Anyway, moving on here. Write a follow-up email after a positive meeting, reiterating key points and suggesting next steps. This is huge if you're working with a client, working with a vendor, whatever it is. That follow-up email with those action items, that's really how work gets done. And it's often easy to get off off an exciting call and just go back to your day-to-day, forget all about it. But these follow-up emails can be very helpful. AI can crank that out for you very quickly, especially if you have a transcript of the call or just a couple bullet points of action items and what was discussed. Let AI do the heavy lifting there. Next here, come up with a few different calls to action to include at the end of this sales email. So oftentimes with an email, you're trying to get somebody to do something. If you're in sales, you know that very well, but many emails are trying to move something forward. So thinking about different ways to approach that call to action, that next step that you want the recipient of that email to take, can be helpful. Email revision and refinement. Rewrite this email to sound more professional. Another one here, make this email more concise. I have to use that one a lot. Rewrite this email to sound more assertive but not aggressive. That's often a tough thing. That takes a lot of mental power, as you want to stand up for yourself, but you don't want to come off like a jerk. So AI can really be helpful with that. Rephrase this sentence to sound less passive. Another one here, provide alternatives to overused phrases in this email. Email revision and refinement. Identify potential confusing or insensitive language in this email and suggest revisions. Analyze the tone of this email. Does it effectively convey the intended emotion, excitement, gratitude, etc.? Provide me with synonyms for keywords in this email to sound more formal, informal, technical. A lot of these are different ways of getting at the same thing. You might find one or two of these that resonate with you more than the others, but it's nice to have those handy to just copy and paste in as you're working through your drafts. Email efficiency. While you're at it, you might as well get it to check for grammatical errors and suggest improvements, or summarize key points of a lengthy email chain. So you can now download an entire email chain as a PDF, feed that right into the AI and say, hey, what happened here? It's very helpful when you're coming back from a vacation, let me tell you. Email strategy and optimization. Create a subject line for this email that is likely to get opened. These are probably more for sales emails. Another one here, find a relevant anecdote or quote to enhance the beginning of this email. Very big, especially if you're doing kind of an email newsletter. Coming up with something that resonates with your audience can be very, very impactful. Help me draft a witty out of office reply. I like that one. This one here. This email chain includes sensitive information. Draft a short separate email highlighting the confidential topics for the recipient. So when you're dealing with sensitive stuff, highlighting, hey, these are the things that are, internal only, etc. Really a lot of different ways to streamline your communication here. Email strategy and optimization. This email is in response to a request for information. Could you help ensure that it includes all the necessary details and anticipates any follow-up questions? So this is another one that would be a good candidate for a custom GPT that I'm going to go through at the end of the video, but giving the AI a little bit of information about what you do, about your business, maybe some information about previous emails so that it has some things to compare it to. So, if it's an email that requires a lot of different thought, a lot of different components, the AI is helping you think through all of that. Here we go again with subject lines. Generate a few A/B testing ideas for subject lines that would determine the most effective phrasing for this promotional email. Another one here, rewrite this standard notification email with a celebratory tone. The context is a consumer reaching a milestone in their program. So any sort of standard notifications that go out, using AI to enhance those a little bit, giving them some life, therefore making sure they get read maybe a little bit more than if they're just sort of a generic email. So hopping back to our bakery example here, I have this prompt. Can you help me reply to this email? We received our order late, blah, 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 goes into that same situation, and then it gives some pointers of I'd like to offer them a 25% refund and a 25% off their next order, along with ensuring that it will not happen again. So here it's just copying in their email and then, your one sentence of thoughts of how you want to handle it based on that collaboration with the AI earlier on. It generates this email here, which I think is well written, but they're always too long. So then my follow-up prompt almost always is, this is too long. Can you make it more concise? And then we get something pretty usable here. And what I love about it, you don't have to think about spell check, grammar, anything like that. You do have to reread it to make sure that it's hitting your points accurately. It might have misinterpreted your little sentence there, but other than that, if it's hitting those points, it should be pretty good to go, where that would be a fairly tough email to think through and make sure that you're apologizing, but also standing up for yourself, but also offering some, legitimate options for a best next course. So that's what I'm talking about when this can really help at the end of the day when there are some difficult emails emails that you got to get out the door. So now we're on to the final section here, which I think is probably the most important section. I speak to a lot of different leaders. They might be CEOs, they might be CMOs who are running a marketing department, and they are trying to instill this AI first culture in their teams, and they're struggling to do it. So this group of prompts can help with skill development, workflow integration, habit building, and just ongoing awareness of how these tools are expanding. So here are some prompts. I often get overwhelmed by the many different features of AI tools. Outline a learning plan to gradually introduce new capabilities over time. Or here's one, draft a skills assessment quiz to gauge everyone's current comfort level with using AI tools. And then you can put that into a Google form and maybe retest in 3 to 6 months and see if there's any progress, really identify the sections that folks are struggling with the most. Next, identify the top 3 potential AI skills that would be game changers for me or my company or my department. Within the next 2 years, create a plan to explore training options. Workflow integration. We regularly perform X time-consuming tasks. Please suggest ways AI might assist at different stages of that process. Provide examples of how other companies in our industry successfully use AI. We could get inspiration from their success. Another one, brainstorm a fun challenge or contest to encourage employees to discover creative uses of AI in daily tasks. Habit building. Design a template to help teams think through AI potential during the planning phase of new projects. Another one, draft a short checklist to review before completing a task. The goal is to prompt consideration of, could AI do this or a part of this? Here's one, design an award or recognition system, even fun, small ones, to highlight successful experimentation with AI tools and creative AI-assisted solutions. So this one kind of pairs nicely with the last one from this previous slide, brainstorm a fun challenge or contest to encourage employees to discover different creative uses. Then, building out a reward or recognition system, even just small rewards, making it a fun thing. Ongoing awareness. Recommend newsletters or other resources to keep up with new developments in AI relevant to our field. I might use Perplexity AI for that one. If you've watched my other videos, you know I'm a huge fan of Perplexity AI for doing any online research. I think that would be my go-to for that particular prompt. Outline how we can collect employee feedback to identify future opportunities to leverage AI even better. Another one here. If AI could do one currently difficult work task perfectly, what would you pick? Describe the impact on our team. So it's kind of another brainstorming activity, thinking outside of the box on that one. Okay, and going beyond prompts. So you'll quickly notice that one prompt is helpful, but oftentimes you'll want to create a prompt sequence. So there will be things, especially anything process-oriented, where you want to run it through one prompt, then another prompt, and then another prompt to get to an end result. And this can be something that you can then give to your team, etc. And those prompt sequences make great custom GPTs. So custom GPTs are ways to build those different processes just directly into a simple bot that can run through multiple different prompts that can help you automate a lot of different systems. And I've created one video on this. I've also got a new one that I'm going to link to right here because I think that folks are still kind of intimidated by these. Of all the people that I work with, I don't know of any that are really creating these custom GPTs. And I want to do something about it because I use them day in and day out. They've become a very powerful part of what I do. So I've created a new video that just dovetails on this, taking these, single prompts and then building them into prompt sequences. So just multiple prompts in an order that you would use frequently. Then, formatting those into custom GPTs. So check that video out. I've also got a ton more in my Patreon. Again, there's a cheat sheet to this video. All the prompts are listed in there. And thanks for making it through. That was 99 prompts to help improve your business. If you got something out of the video, please make sure to like, subscribe, leave me a comment. Let me know, what your favorites were. If there's anything I missed, I would love to know that. And thanks again for joining me on my journey, helping marketers and entrepreneurs around the world learn how to use these AI tools. I will see you on the next video.
Make your dreams come true.